There have been special moments over the years, rare, fleeting moments, where you could trust certain developers without question. You could get hyped for their games, you knew that they were going to deliver. You could walk into your local game store, see a game there on the shelf, see the developer's logo there and think, this is going to be a very special game. It was the case with old Blizzard in the 90s, Black Isle Studios, who were responsible for Fallout 2, Planescape Torment, classic BioWare, who did the original Baldur's Gate games, Knights of the Old Republic. They were devs who, when you played their games, you knew you were going to get something special. They were going to be games by gamers. Passionate teams who cared about the product and wanted to provide an experience that was innovative, that was going to grip gamers, be immersive, and just be fun. It wasn't about shareholders, about the next quarterly earnings report. It was about that gaming experience. In 2023, there are not many developers like that, especially in the AAA space, the mainstream space. But Larian Studios are one of them. They are standing tall, they're pushing back against most of the nonsense that makes up the gaming scene these days. They aren't completely alone. There are other devs like From Software. If they announce a game, everyone gets pumped. Doesn't matter if it's a mech game and no one's ever played a mech game before, people are going to go out and buy it. They're going to be excited because From can be trusted. And exactly the same with Larian. We know that if they come out and announce a DLC for Baldur's Gate 3, they announce a brand new game, everyone is going to be absolutely pumped. Whereas most studios these days will be skeptical. We will expect it to be a cash grab, for it to be scummy. Larian have earned that. They have spent years and years getting to the point that they could release a game like Baldur's Gate 3, they could be this ambitious, and they could earn that goodwill with gamers. They've been going for 20 plus years. For most of that time, very few gamers were aware of them, especially outside of Europe where they're from. Now they are in the mainstream. They've released Baldur's Gate 3, it sold 20 plus million copies. Everyone is ready for what comes next. But releasing a good game is not enough for Larian. They are perfectionists. They want to make sure that their products are the best that they can be. That is what they were striving for. And we've seen today that Swen has come out to talk about brand new improvements for Baldur's Gate 3 around optimization. Swen is the main guy at Larian. He is not just a suit, like is the case at most game publishers, where you just get someone counting the money, the coffers. Swen is right there. He is a gamer. He is a developer. He is hands-on. He knows what support the devs need to produce something of quality. He wants to make it happen. He is as passionate as all of us about a game being great, a game being something that we want to enjoy, play, not just something to keep throwing money at. And the improvements made, Swen has broken that down in a bit of a graph here, but fortunately, for those of us who aren't super technical, it has been broken down on message boards. So basically, Swen from Larian Studios has shared a significant engineering progress update, and it is expected to optimize Baldur's Gate 3 even further. So the game itself, it runs quite well on PC, but that isn't enough for them. They want to improve this, they want to make sure it can be the best that it can be, and this is likely going to be the case for console as well. So people on PlayStation, on Xbox, will continue to have a better experience, given it is coming out on Xbox in the not-too-distant future, which I'm glad for. I'm not playing on Xbox, but I want to see more people play it, more people experience it, so it can grow. 20 plus million copies already. To see that grow is incredible, because I want to see more RPGs coming out. This is the best way. We've got a quality one, it's selling, word of mouth is incredibly positive, and to see them still deliver is exactly what I want. Keep in mind that Baldur's Gate 3 has been selling for 3 plus years. Early access, back in 2020, you could play almost the entire first act. There was a lot of content there that you could just buy, immediately download and play. This wasn't the case of a developer announcing early, hey, you can pre-order our game. If you do so, you're going to get a special skin. You can play a tiefling, but only if you buy the very special deluxe edition that costs 30% more. There was none of that nonsense. All they did was say, hey, here's part of the game that you can play right now if you want to support us and buy it early. They were actually giving us genuine value if we wanted to support them up front, and many people did. So they've been collecting a lot of those gamers' money early, meaning when the full release came out, a lot of people probably had already bought it. Despite that, they are still improving it. They could have gone off on a beach somewhere, 20 million plus copies, I'm sure that's a lot of money. They could be pretty much done, put the feet up. But they clearly see this as such a special moment, lightning in a bottle. There's a great game there that fans are absolutely loving. An old school RPG, to see that in the mainstream is so rare. So it is great to see that they're as passionate as we are. They still are. They've been at it for years and they do not want to stop. So they are continuing to improve on the performance of the game to make sure it's the best it can possibly be. We know that they have also released 4 major patches so far. They know it's not absolutely perfect, as we should as well. Everything can be improved. I know there are some people who will say, no, absolutely everything to do with Baldur's Gate 3 is perfect. Let's make it a bit of a cult thing. If you criticize anything, you're wrong. Not the case. It's a genuinely great product, but everything can still be improved. And as we know, Act 3, it does need a bit of work. And Larian do acknowledge that. They're improving it with those patches, and they want to make it smoother across the board. So the engineering work they're doing is ensuring that, and it may make it even easier if they do want to develop new content in the future to know it's going to perform well, that they can perhaps be more ambitious with encounters, what they add in there, given the fact that the game is now running better. Future updates are promised that are going to continue to support these improvements. So they're not stopping here, they are going to keep patching the game. It is going to continue to get better. Now, I think this is unique for Larian, because you might say that a lot of developers, yeah, sure, they release a game and they keep improving it. But there is a very clear trend where Larian stands out these days as being quite unique. They have released a full game, not perfect once again. They do need to make some additions, some improvements to later parts of the game. But overall, high quality release. Most of it is very, very good. But that is not the case with most studios these days, most publishers, because what they are doing is releasing an almost broken game. Basically, they get it to the absolute bare minimum that it can be, where if they release it, they can't be sued. They can't be told you've released something that actually does not work and you've defrauded us. They get maybe one step across that line. Once they're that step over, they will release it and they won't give a toss what you think of it. The game can be an absolute mess. Technically, it's playable, so for them, that is a win. They can get the round of applause from the shareholders, and they can continue on their merry way. They will promise and say, no, we're going to improve this game, stick with us, but they're really screwing over the fans. We spoke about how, with Baldur's Gate 3, they offered fans that early access release, that you could test the game, provide feedback, and they would make sure that the full release had that feedback taken into consideration so they could improve, provide the best possible product, which is what they did. But on the other side of things, most publishers, they do not care about the fans because they're happy to absolutely screw over the day one buyers. You buy a game like, let's say, Jedi Survivor. It's a game that's well made, but day one fans were screwed over because you go on Steam, you buy that on PC, the game's a total mess. It's completely broken. And what do EA say? What do the developers say? Sorry, we'll try and do better next time. In the meantime, though, we're going to patch the game so that people down the track who play it, they'll have a good experience. What it means is the day one buyers, they play something absolutely broken. They have tried to support the game, support the devs, pay up front, pay that $60, $70 full price for the release, and they get absolutely screwed. They play something that barely works, and only down the track do the devs actually get it into a manageable state. It is not like Larian, where they are improving. They've taken something very good, they want to make it better. No. These other devs, they take something broken and get it to a maybe passable, acceptable state years and years later. I've been thinking about it because I have been playing Cyberpunk recently, the 2.0 update with Phantom Liberty. It's very, very good. I'm enjoying it now. However, I also played it when it came out, and there were obviously a lot of problems there. To think that when I played it then, I got a really inferior experience, and I'm now replaying it now years later, and it's slightly better. The problem is, people playing it now for the first time get to experience everything at its very best. Where when I and many other people played it years ago, we just got that really clunky, really average experience where you couldn't enjoy it to the full degree. It just seems like it's screwing over the diehards, the people who actually make these games possible, because if no one bought it for $60 when it came out, they wouldn't have had the funds to improve the game. So it's really just screwing over the genuine fans, and you can lose that trust quite quickly. I know there's people who will just keep buying FIFA every year, and they'll play the new Fortnite season or whatever it is. But there are plenty of people who eventually, when they get screwed over enough, they will stop buying your games. We've seen it with, say, Blizzard. They are laughingstocks these days. I think they had BlizzCon the other week and barely anyone was there. They couldn't sell as many tickets as they had in the past. Usually it would sell out, not the case this time. So the trust can be lost. Even if it seems like people are just happy to lap up anything, eventually you do become the joke. You become the clown show. Larian, on the other hand, have gone the opposite way. They continue to improve. Again, they've been around for 20 plus years. It wasn't that long ago. You go back to the Divinity Original Sin days. The first game in the Original Sin lineup, that was going to be make or break for them. It was almost like Final Fantasy, where the series has that name because they thought they were going to release Final Fantasy. If it didn't do well, that was the end. Divinity Original Sin was very much the same. They had to crowdfund it. No one was willing to fund them, giving them any money. Can you believe that now, given they've had a game that sold 25 million copies? Everyone will be rushing around, throwing money at them, going, please, 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 can you put in some maybe microtransactions? We want to make as much as possible. We want to fleece the fans who we know will be desperate to play anything from you. I know Swen, I know Larian won't have a bar of that. They are passionate, but that's how it is. The tables have turned. Original Sin, the fans had to crowdfund that on Kickstarter just to get that game made. And if they didn't get the money from fans, it wouldn't have happened. In fact, Baldur's Gate 3 would not have happened if Original Sin was not funded on Kickstarter. So it's very interesting. An entire piece of gaming history could have been lost if Divinity Original Sin 1 didn't do well, followed by the second one did extremely well, and now we are here. I kind of hope we get some more content for Baldur's Gate 3. I think when they spoke about it, maybe not getting DLC updates, some sort of expansion, it probably came at a time where, sure, it was successful, but it wasn't the absolute behemoth that it is now. It has had tremendous success. And when you've got a game lightning in a bottle like that, it seems like you can't just give that away and start again. I don't think anyone wants Larian to walk away for another 5-6 years to produce something else. I know it'll be absolutely worth it, but I also know I'm going to be in, my mid-30s by the time it's ready, and you get older and you think, oh, I'm going to run out of time to play all of these games as the studios release them. So I hope we get something a little bit sooner, whether it's an expansion or even just using the engine to create something from scratch, because I do think that developers love designing experiences from level 1 upwards. Designing high-level D&D encounters is tricky. It is difficult to keep doing more. You can't go from fighting dragons and endgame bosses to going back to fighting kobolds and goblins and so on. That doesn't really make sense. But developers, and certainly fans as well, like that experience of starting small. You're not really the huge hero. You've got to earn your keep. You've got to earn that right to have grander adventures. So maybe they can just essentially release a new module. Another game in the Baldur's Gate universe. It uses that engine. It doesn't have to be 150 hours, but just a smaller campaign. If you think of something mainstream like the Amazing Spider-Man game, the Marvel one on PS4 and 5, and then they had that Miles Morales, that expansion, maybe something like that, where it is just a smaller standalone experience, but they're able to reward the fans, reward all these people who love the game, who are going to continue to support, who want to have fun and play something like that. So it's really good to see that Larian continue to improve, not just get the game to an acceptable level. They've done that ages ago, yonks ago. They just want to make it the best it can be, reward the fans. They know they're in this position because of them, because of us who've supported this game, supported them over the years. They were never saved by some publisher, Microsoft buying them at the 11th hour before they closed. They were saved by the fans. They put fans first, and I absolutely love it. I hope they keep getting rewarded for their work, because it's what we need. It's what the industry needs. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.